G'day there guys, Marky here, and welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the Asshole? Now if you love this kind of content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and let's get right into it. Am I the asshole for keeping my former mother-in-law in my and my son's life? My 37 female husband, Oliver, died in a car crash 8 years ago at age 31. The only reason I could keep on my feet back then was because of my parents and Oliver's mother's support. Just to say a few things she's done for us, she helped us financially while I looked for a better paying job after Oliver died. She takes care of my son, 10 male, whenever he is sick and I have to go to work. She cooks extra portions of food for us when she prepares meals that she knows I or my son like. She never asks for or expects anything in return. She is a genuinely good person, and I am happy that she is in our lives. She's a widow too, and Oliver was an only child. So we are her only family, and we see her on a regular basis, and we really enjoy each other's company. The thing is, I met this guy, 40 male Pete, at work 4 years ago. We started dating about a year after we met each other, and we got engaged 2 months ago. After our engagement, Pete suggested that my son and his mother, 66 female Carla, should meet. I thought that it was a good idea since they would spend time together after we got married. Carla and my son have met 3 times this past 2 months, all of them at Pete's house for dinner. Pete and I were there too. Last time was last night, and it all went down. Since the moment they first met, Carla has been really pushy, trying to force a bond between them, giving him presents, asking him to kiss her hello and goodbye, even if my son looked uncomfortable. So yesterday, I politely asked her to stop doing that. She told me that I was being very rude to her, and that maybe I should help her by teaching my son to treat her as a grandmother. I told her that I don't have to teach my son to do anything, and that he would come to see her as a grandma when and if he wanted. She scoffed and said that would never happen if we kept seeing my dead husband's mother, and suggested that we should stop seeing her since having 3 grandmas would only confuse my kid. I was shocked, and I said I would never kick Oliver's mom out of our lives. First of all, because she's my son's real grandma and he adores her, and that should be reason enough. And second of all, because she's a good person and I want her in our lives. I took my child and left Pete's house. Pete called me later last night and told me that I had been really rude to Carla and I should apologize, that she only wants to have a grandma-like relationship with my son. I told him I would like that too, but I'm not shutting Oliver's mom out. Then he says that I'm being very unreasonable, and that my relationship with my former mother-in-law is unhealthy, and that I'm blinded by my emotions. I'm actually rethinking our whole relationship and engagement. Am I the asshole? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I refused to break all contact with my former mother-in-law when my future mother-in-law asked, and I might break my engagement to my fiancé if having to kick my former mother-in-law from my life is requested of me to go on with the relationship. Personally, I think that is a fair hill to die on. You owe this new potential mother-in-law nothing, especially not cutting someone else out of your life that is actually blood-related to your son. That your son relies on, that would then alienate that person entirely? All for what? To save the feelings of someone that continually pushes boundaries? No, never acceptable. Do not accept that kind of treatment. I'm glad that you have actually been forthright with this person and listed your reasons as to why that's a bad idea and why you're never doing it. It seems like they're trying to bully and bulldoze you into them getting their way, and you should not accept that. You should continue to bulldoze over them and their stupid arguments and push back everything that they're requesting. If that results in you breaking up with this man and breaking off the engagement, so be it. They are never going to be as important as the bond between you and your son, and then by extension, the link between you, your son, and his grandmother. Definitely not the asshole in this situation. Now in the comments, not the asshole. Your fiancé's mother is wildly inappropriate. First of all, you don't force a child to bond with someone. It either comes naturally or it doesn't. Second, you would be a giant asshole if you cut ties with your child's bio grandmother simply because you were getting remarried. Unless your former mother-in-law did something wrong, you have no reason to cut ties. In fact, I'd go as far as to say that it might be damaging to your child. Right? How much would her son resent both Pete and Carla if his loving grandmother gets unceremoniously booted out of his life to accommodate them? And what kind of psycho thinks an emotional bond can be forced in 3 dinners? You say that you're rethinking your whole relationship and engagement? As you should be. Tell him how much she means to you and your child, and that she'll have a permanent place in your lives. Make your decision based on his response, and trust your instincts, not the asshole. I'm going to second this. Your fiancé is showing a lack of maturity and a concerning need to dictate other people's relationships. For the sake of your son, and so that you can find a healthy relationship, but bail now. My guess is that if you were to accept this line of reasoning, separate from the worlds of harm you would do to your son, you would quickly find that Carla got to make a lot of decisions about your relationship, and that Pete would object to any attempts to teach your son about his father. And now, on to the update. I second-guessed myself, cause Pete has always been a very understanding person. Any conflict or disagreement we'd had, we could solve it by talking, and he was good in getting my point of view. That's why I thought that maybe I was actually overreacting here, cause it's so unlike him to make me feel like I've done something unexcusably wrong. That, and the fact that Carla was actually crying when I left Pete's house last night. The kisses thing. I agree that forcing kids to display affection to people they don't actually like is wrong. However, Carla asking him to kiss is not as creepy as some people think of it. Let me explain. I'm actually from a country in southern Europe. Portugal, Spain, Greece, Italy, you guess. And greeting people with 2 kisses, one on each cheek, is the norm here. Even people you've just met. I hated having to kiss grown-ups that I barely knew when I was a kid. I don't even like it now. I thought we'd gotten rid of the kisses with the pandemic, so I never forced my son to do so. But it can be viewed as extremely rude if you say to an adult that you won't talk to your kid to kiss them if the kid doesn't want to. So the first time I didn't stop Carla from greeting my son with 2 kisses because I didn't want to make a bad impression. I know, my bad. But I thought she wouldn't stop asking my son to greet her that way when she saw that he didn't like it. I was wrong, and that's why I told her so last night. Also because she insisted that my son said thank you to her with a kiss for the gift that she had just given him, a Yoshi plushie, because she knows that it's his favorite Mario character. She was extra offended because of that. Edit to add, all the English names here are fake, obviously. I'm clarifying since I came out as a Southern European. Pete has a sister who doesn't want to have kids. That's her choice, and that should be respected. Carla has always dreamt of being a grandma, so she was ultra desperate to be liked by my son. I didn't write this in the original post because of the character limit, but when Pete called me last night, I told him that I'm sorry for his mom, but being a grandma is not a right, and it's not his sister's responsibility, nor Pete's, and definitely not mine or my son's. He said he couldn't believe that I could have this little empathy. I'm off to Pete's house in 15 minutes. I'll write the last update tomorrow, but I'm determined to end the relationship if he hasn't changed his mind. Let's hope he has. Update. I broke up with Pete last night. I am still a bit shocked about everything that's happened in the past 48 hours, and I don't exactly remember how the conversation went, but he said some really hurtful things to me that I would have never expected him to say. It's like the man I've known for years and the man that I've had to deal with for the past 2 days are 2 completely different people. I'm heartbroken and I feel a bit stupid right now. I'm not sure if all the signs were already there and I couldn't see them, or if he just didn't care about our past issues as much as he did for this one, or if his expectations about me changed the moment we got engaged, like someone suggested as a reply to this comment. We started talking, and I can already see that he hasn't changed his mind at all. One of the first things he does is insisting on me apologizing to his mom. It only got worse after that. I say I'm not apologizing for what I said, and absolutely I wasn't cutting ties with my mother-in-law. Some of you had an issue about me calling her my former mother-in-law. I just meant that after Oliver died, there's just not any law that keeps us together. But of course, she is a fundamental person in my life, and she will always be my family, and most importantly, my kid's grandma. He then again said that I have such an unhealthy relationship with that woman because it's based on mourning. I defended myself, saying we were already close before Oliver died, and that of course we found support and comfort in each other after he died. How dare he say that's unhealthy? I insist that kicking her out is out of the question, and that she is staying in my and my son's life. He can either accept it or get out of my life. We start arguing a bit more. Like I said, I don't remember half of the things we said because I was so mad, sad, and disappointed. And at some point in the middle of the conversation, he tells me something along the lines of, "Please, this may be my mother's last chance to be a grandmother," like he already told me the previous night when he called me. I said again that I'm really sorry for her, but this is not our responsibility. I also said that I would have loved it if she had become a grandma to my son in a healthy way, but that she had pretty much blown her chances with her attitude the previous night. He got furious about this. The last thing we talked about, and I still can't believe these words came out of his mouth at all, before I stormed out of his house, was how Pete didn't think that I would be with him right now if Oliver was still alive. I was speechless for a few minutes, I swear. I told him that was so unfair. I can't possibly know what my life would be like in that scenario, or how I would feel about Oliver, about Pete, or about anyone else. I also said that I'm not apologizing for having loved and been happy with another man years before I even knew him, or for whatever parallel universe he's made up in his mind that I'm not in control of. I also told him that I wished he was half as a good person as Oliver was. Now I see that this was very wrong and low of me, and I should have never said that. But I was just not thinking at that point. Imagine how I felt about that. I would not have seen this coming in a million years, because he never, even once, has had, apparently, because obviously he has, any issue with me being a widow. I guess he was just ruminating all these feelings on his own until we came to this breaking point. Everything about me prioritizing Oliver's mum over his own mum must have triggered him so much if he was already feeling insecure about how I might still feel about Oliver. We yelled at each other for another while, and then I became sick of this situation. I told him that in case it wasn't already obvious, the wedding was cancelled and that I didn't want to see him again, though I'll have to see him tomorrow at work. I get home, it was about midnight, get a shower, and at about 1 a.m. I get a phone call from Carla. She's practically begging me not to cancel the wedding and give them another chance. She was crying, and I really felt bad for her. We were talking for almost 45 minutes, and I was already exhausted of everything. I said that I was sorry, but I was not going back on my decision. So yeah, right now I'm heartbroken, and I feel so stupid, like I said. I don't know what happened to the man that I've been in love with for 3 years. I feel like everything went so wrong so fast. I guess he just saved me years of progressive disappointment by blowing it all in just 2 days. Better now than when we were already married, I guess. Even if I feel like crap right now, I think I did the right thing, and I'll be okay. I'm putting my son first, and of course, my mother-in-law stays with us for as long as she wants to have us. Thanks to everyone who showed their support. Actually having strangers with an impartial point of view helped making my decision. And now in the comments, quote, Pete didn't think that I would be with him right now if Oliver was still alive. I mean, duh? He was her husband? Right? Like, Pete had previously thought if Oliver had not died, she would have left him for Pete once they met? What a bizarre way to think. I'm starting to think you wouldn't have left your marriage for me if he hadn't died. Like, what the hell? Kids can have more than 2 grandmas and love them all. Cutting out her late husband's mother will not make the boy bond with Pete's mum. If you let kids come to you, you have a much better relationship long term than if you try to force it. My parents and my husband's parents have all been divorced and remarried, so my kids have 4 sets of grandparents and a ton of aunts and uncles. They are not remotely confused, and they are 2 and 4. They just have more people that love them. I couldn't imagine not letting my kids see my husband's family if something were to happen to him. Pete was one wedding away from pressuring her every day to get pregnant so he could provide a real baby for his mother. She is so lucky she didn't get pregnant. No kidding. If that had happened, I guarantee OP's son would be shoved to the side and ignored. Like, what kind of sociopath do you have to be to insist that you're the new man in someone's life, and you have a mother that your stepchild's biological grandmother he already has a relationship with needs to go? Like there's only a certain number of family member slots, and she's taking the one that you're entitled to? Our next post is titled, "Am I the asshole for telling my friend that he shouldn't come crying on my shoulder if his girlfriend breaks up with him at some point?" So me, 29 male, and my friend Troy, 29 male also, knew each other from high school. We were very close and good friends. This friendship continued even after we graduated 10 years ago. Troy and I are a part of the same friend group that consists of 8 people. Some of us are single, others have partners. Due to busy schedules, we try to gather once a month to do something fun together. We always try and plan the activities in such a way that everyone invited could have fun. Of course, we don't mind other people to come as long as they behave like normal adults and don't cause problems. 2 years ago, Troy started to date this girl Molly, 24 female, and I was super happy for him because he was getting kinda depressed that he was still single in his 20s and how others are in a relationship while he sits alone at home. Note, I always made time for Troy. Doesn't matter if I was in a relationship or not. Initially, I liked Molly. She's kinda shy, but we managed to get her to relax in our company. Last year, however, I noticed something strange was happening. Troy started to decline my calls, started to make excuses for why he can't come hang out with us. It's only him and Molly everywhere. Personally, I'm kinda creeped out of relationships like that, but hey, not my relationship, not my problem. Recently, we decided to go somewhere for the weekend. We checked the schedules of everyone in the group, and we planned to rent a cabin 40 kilometers from our hometown. I wanted to invite Troy and Molly. I called him, and he, again, made some stupid excuse as to why he couldn't attend. I rolled my eyes, said, "Okay, whatever dude," and hung up. We went without him because we already reserved the cabin. The problem? 4 days ago, Molly called me. She told me that all of us are terrible people for excluding Troy like that. She proceeded to berate me for 2 minutes about how I should stop hating, Lamau, that Troy is in a relationship and I'm single. I told her to put me on speaker because I knew that Troy was close to her. I told him that he's not a man if he lets his girlfriend fight his battles, and he could have called me personally, or met me so we could solve this matter. I also told them that if Molly breaks up with him, he can forget about having sympathy from me, and he shouldn't come to cry on my shoulder, and I hung up. Troy texted me 3 hours later, saying that I was rude towards him and his girlfriend, and he wants me to apologize. I said that I'm not apologizing to anyone. I also told them that I know this is his first relationship in a long time, and I totally understand that his girlfriend comes first. However, he forgot that he has friends during this time. Troy insisted that I'm still the asshole because of what I said. Am I the asshole? And edit, since I've been asked multiple times, yes, Molly knew about the invitation. A girl from our friend group has her number and called in front of me to confirm whether they are coming or not. Just from an outside-in perspective, these two are giving me really bad vibes. I honestly very much agree with you here that this was Troy's battle to fight, not Molly's to come and ring you and start berating you. If he had a problem, he should have called you to sort this out, not had Molly call him while they're both riled up, ready for an argument together. That's cringe. That's not how you fix situations like this. That's how you alienate yourself from your friend group that's just trying to do right by you. Troy made up a stupid excuse to not come with you guys to the cabin. All you said was, "Okay, whatever dude." And like you said in the edit, it's not like Molly didn't know this was happening. So her calling you and berating you for 2 minutes about how you shouldn't exclude Troy like that is so dumb. It's obviously such a lie. Honestly, I don't blame you for saying what you said to Troy like that. And if you go low or no contact, I feel like they've deserved it. I'm gonna go not the asshole on this one. And now in the comments, but you didn't exclude him. You invited him. He said no. What were you supposed to do? Not go just because he wouldn't? Not the asshole. He obviously told her one thing and you another. And OP replies, yeah, this strokes a nerve with me too. This story is so weird. He declined, and then his girlfriend calls you to say that it's wrong to exclude him? A logical reply would have been, what do you mean? He was literally invited and then declined. Instead, you did this whole speakerphone thing. Are you omitting things here? Because none of this makes sense. I'm with you there. The first thing I would have said is, I called him and invited you both, but he said insert reason and said no. So why didn't OP say any of that? It sounds like Molly didn't even know she was invited too. And OP replies, no, I'm not omitting anything. I tried to tell her to calm down and listen to me, but she continued to berate me, and then I just snapped. I'm not sure I understand. Did you invite him to the cabin? If so, how were you excluding him? OP replies, I did, and I don't know. Are you sure he didn't lie to her about it? Did you ask her? And OP says, for this particular case, no. A girl from our friend group has her number, and every single time Troy declines, she calls to confirm with Molly. She knows from another girl in our friend group. So she knows and still blames you, called and complained. What else were you supposed to do? Something is really off. You're not the asshole. You invited him and he declined. End of story. And OP replies, I know something is wrong. I don't want to blame Molly, but ever since Troy started dating her, I can't recognize him. He doesn't call, avoids gatherings with friends, makes promises but doesn't keep them. I mean, I get it. It's been 6 to 7 years since he last dated, and I know that he's fixated to make a good impression on Molly, but for Christ's sake, you have friends, dude. And now, onto the update. Hey Reddit, I'm thankful to all the people who actually took time to read and comment. For them, I do think I owe them an update. So I decided to meet up with Troy today to see what the hell is going on. I texted him that I wanted to see him face to face and to talk like men. He agreed, and we decided to meet in the nearby park. He brought Molly with him, which kinda pissed me off, but whatever. As we talked, things became clear as a bright summer day. I still laugh when I think about it because this is some next level BS here. Molly and Troy were both in on this. Molly called me because Troy made her do it. They confessed the whole thing. They made a plan to make me the bad guy because, I don't know. They couldn't explain to me why they decided to do that. Troy told me that he didn't appreciate the jokes that me and others were making when Molly was with us. None of the jokes were directed towards Molly or him, but he was not feeling okay with them. I asked why he never said anything about it. Why stay silent? Troy said that he was too ashamed to tell us this. Molly chimed in and said that this level of profanity is why they stopped hanging out with us. I was stunned. Neither Molly or Troy said anything about it. I asked Troy, is he kidding me? He has known me and the others for 14 to 15 years. He knows exactly what kind of people we are. Troy said that he's sorry, but the relationship with Molly is special for him, and he doesn't want to lose it. I felt angry, angrier than I have ever felt before, but I decided not to make a scene. I asked him straight, are you saying that until you and Molly are a couple, you won't hang out with us? He said yes. I nodded, thanked him for his time, and went back home. As soon as I came home, I removed Troy from our chat and told the whole story to the other people. They deserve to know why Troy keeps bailing on us, and an hour later, Troy texted me to say sorry again. I said that his sorry means nothing to me anymore, and he can kick rocks. I wished him happiness with his relationship, and I cut contact with him. I'm not gonna lie, it hurts. It hurts when one of my closest friends decides to not be an adult and communicate with me. It hurts that I had to lose him like that. It hurts to think that he actually made a plan with his girlfriend to separate from us instead of telling us like grown people do. I hope they're happy, and even if they break up, I don't think I'll forgive him or make amends with him. Thanks to all the people who actually made the time and effort to comment. Thanks to all that told me that I overreacted. It was because of those comments that I managed to stay calm during this conversation. And now in the comments, their relationship screams codependency, and there is nothing you or your friends can do about it. You were right to step away. And OP replies, "Their relationship screams toxicity, if you ask me. They are just toxic to each other without realizing it. Oh well, it's not my job to teach a 29-year-old grown-ass man how to be an adult." I kinda want to hear more about these jokes that ended the friendship. Apparently, one of the jokes OP told that upset the couple so much was basically, what is a conflicting feeling? Seeing your mother-in-law drive off a cliff in your brand new car. This is pretty inoffensive. I mean, I'm a raging feminist, but my mother-in-law really sucks, and I have insurance. But I have to wonder if this is a cherry-picked example of their punch-down boomer humor, and others have just grown out of it. It's not only inoffensive, it's an incredibly old joke. It was around in the days of radio. We're talking early Bob Hope, vaudeville era. It shows up in loads of World War II era shows, and I wouldn't be surprised if it predates World War II. Anyway, that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it down below, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.